Do do wop do wop do wop do wop do wop do wop in the still of the night. You got shot. Do wop do wop do wop. So it's September 27th, 2019, and I'm walking into the 57th Annual New York Film Festival. You know, it's fall film festival circuit and all. And I'm heading to the motion picture premiere of The Irishman. It's an invite-only black tie affair. You know, I rented my tux, and I'm all excited to meet my hero, Martin Scorsese. I have arrived. A big security guard gives me a once-over. He looks at my press credentials, and he calls headquarters. Damn, the bastard's going to make me sweat it out, I'm thinking, some bitch. Finally, he says, okay, pass. And there's Martin. I walk up to him. I extend my hand. I said, Mr. Scorsese, I'm a big fan of yours. It's an honor to meet you. It's Scorsese. Yeah, whatever. I got to tell you, Brooklyn's not the same since you left. He says, well, I really never left. Shit, you live with all those freaks and weirdos? Excuse me, son, they're waiting for me over there, he says. I grab his arm. I said, wait a minute, Marty. Now that we're friends and all, I mean, let's get a drink sometime, play some pool, shoot the shit. But the crowd sucks him in, and he's gone, and I'm left to rub elbows with Bobby and Al. Okay, so I embellished it a little bit. Sue me. Actually, I'm here in my living room, and it's Black Friday, and I have Netflix. They've packaged up this brand new movie called The Irishman with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Hell, what more does a wise guy need or want? So, without further ado, I give you my review of The Irishman. The opening scene is perfect. Shadooby-dooby-do, shadooby-dooby-do, in the still of the night. Scorsese is a student of film, and he takes a page right out of the master's playbook, a single shot. No cuts, a 1.5-second clip. It's reminiscent of Orson Welles' single-take opening sequence in The Touch of Evil. Remember that long opening, single take in The Touch of Evil? And I believe that Martin is, it's only a minute clip, but we're moseying through this nursing home / resting home. And you see it's for Catholics, of course. You get the feeling that the priest there on the left is a friend of Marty, and he's just, doing a cameo across from the Virgin Mary, no less. So Scorsese has evolved in this picture. He's older, he's softer. As my great old Aunt Peggy used to say, he's gotten nicer. If you go back to the Mean Streets movie, it was faster, meaner. It was a young punk's view of life. Scorsese was younger then. The Irishman is a more mature, slightly slower Scorsese interpretation of Americana mafia, okay? And Marty lets you know that right out of the gate with this slow stroll through the nursing home where we eventually come up to the main character. The bottom line is this is a movie about Americana mafia, Americana mob story. And it is a long movie. It's over 3 hours. I think it's like 209 minutes altogether. There's some powerful dialogue in this marathon project. That's what makes the movie. It puts those Hollywood Marvel movies to shame. And matter of fact, The Irishman was the offer that Hollywood refused. Yeah, in 2017, Paramount dropped the ball, and they let this project go, and then Netflix acquired the project and took it to fruition. I think the budget for this movie was about $160 million. Some people say $200 million. Hey, what's a couple million here and there? De Niro was a producer along with Henry Winkler, the Fonz. There were years of living hell, I guess, to get this film developed. De Niro, I hear that De Niro read the book in 2004. And immediately he wanted to make it into a movie. He tried to get the project off the ground in 2004. It reminds me of another time in history when a big actor read a book and then tried to get the movie off the ground. It was what? Charleston Heston and the Soylent Green. Uh, Chuck Heston read the book, and it took him a long time to convince people to make Soylent Green. And Heston was a big actor. Robert De Niro was a big actor. They read. I see some correlation there. But anyhow, De Niro read the book in 2004, tried to get the project off the ground. Development phase started around 2007, but rewrites sent the project to the back burner. But by 2015, it was clear it was happening. But then Paramount Studios did drop the ball in 2017. Lucky for us, Netflix picked it up. This is the most expensive and longest movie in Scorsese's career. Oh, and I kind of forgot. I said that he read the book. I mean, what was the book? Okay, the name of the book was called I Heard You Paint Houses by Charles Brandt. And the story revolves around Robert De Niro's character. He's the main character, Frank Sheeran. He's the Irishman. And he confessed to many crimes while he was working for the Bufalino crime family up there in northern Pennsylvania, Buffalo region. He says he was the trigger man, the guy who killed Jimmy Hoffa. He claims that after he killed Jimmy Hoffa, the cleaners came in, took Jimmy Hoffa's body away real quickly, and he was cremated. Yeah, that's what he claims, that Jimmy Hoffa was cremated. He was the trigger man. So it was the first opening scene that took us to the first legend in this movie. That would be Robert De Niro. And then at the 3-minute and 33-second mark, we come to the next big legend in the movie, and that would be Joe Pesci. He plays Russell Bufalino, and they're going to take a 3-day trip across Pennsylvania and Ohio, stopping along the way in places like, Youngstown, Steubenville, pick up the dough, pick up the money. So right from the start, you get the feeling that this movie is a true story, and it mostly is. Oh, I'm sure there's some exaggeration and some embellishment going on in there. Okay, then we got the Texaco scene here. This is where they go back in time. This scene reminds you that there are no coincidences in life, that, shit happens for a reason. But this is where they go back. This is where De Niro's character, Frank Sheeran, this is where he first met Russell Bufalino. Frank's truck broke down. Before Frank got involved with the mob, he was a truck driver. He was a working stiff. Yeah, the mob boss helps him get his truck back on the road. Then there's the bar scene, and this explains the times of the 1960s and 70s and 80s. They're throwing the drinks down. These were tough times, tough people. They worked hard. They played hard. Not like the sissy bars you have today. And next we come to one of my favorite scenes here. De Niro's character, Frank, is stealing meat out of the truck he's driving. He's just starting to get in good with the Bufalino crime family. And he's giving them meat, which he's supposed to be delivering to Tony here. And he says, yeah, thanks, Tone, as I just stole your beef. It's sweet. And then one time they open up the truck and there's no meat at all in there. And Tony says, it's empty. It's empty. And De Niro acts like he's shocked. And Tony says, hey, this ain't on me. This ain't on. Basically what De Niro's doing here is he's pissing down Tony's back and he's telling him it's raining. Well, that's one of my favorite scenes there. Tony, hey, this ain't on me. This ain't on me. And, of course, Frank's in trouble. So he has to go see a lawyer. But he's in luck because the Bufalino crime family have their own lawyer. And he just happens to be Jimmy Hoffa's lawyer also. So now we have the next big star coming in there. That's Ray Romano. A lot of YouTubers confuse me with Ray. But anyhow, this is where the Irishman finds out that the judicial system can be fixed, and some judges are bought. I mean, with the right lawyers, you can literally get away with murder. I mean, seriously, just ask OJ. And then at the 1533 mark, we see the next big legend to grace us with his appearance. The legend Harvey Keitel. That's what makes this story so interesting, is because they're playing real characters. And most of these characters got whacked, like this guy. He's playing Angelo Bruno, and Bruno got shot in the head. So Harvey Keitel, he puts in a pretty good performance there as the Philadelphia mob boss. And you notice that ring right there. That ring, there's only three people that have that ring, and he's one of them. And Russell Bufalino is the other. So lots of good characters in this movie. The movie slows down for about 5 minutes or so as the Irishman is explaining how, he was in World War II, he had to kill people, he was in Italy, he speaks Italian, and of course they killed the Germans, of course. You got to hey, if you're going to kill somebody, kill the damn Germans. So the movie does have a little bit of Hollywood propaganda in there. The Nazis are bad. Kill them! Kill them! Kill them! And that's also probably one of the reasons why the movie is so long, because you have to develop the relationship between the Irishman and the mob bosses. Being in World War II kind of helps build his character. So anyhow, the mob boss, Russell Bufalino here, takes a shine to the Irishman. And these are real characters. The character that Joe Pesci's playing here is Russell Bufalino. And he's kind of a fixer. I mean, he smooths things over. Everybody respects him. If you want anything done, you got to come to him or get his approval. So about the 23-minute mark, it picks up steam again. I wasn't worried. Well, AKA, you better hope he's not worried. So things are picking up, and at the 46-minute mark, the next legend appears. Al Pacino, who plays Jimmy Hoffa. Yes, okay. This is the point that the movie turns into a Jimmy Hoffa mafia movie. Al Pacino takes over. But, with all these legends in this movie, it was a pleasant surprise to see a UK Lancashire yawner, Stephen Graham, steal some of the scenes away from the masters. Yes, it was a pleasant surprise. Now, apparently, the very first conversation that the Irishman had with Jimmy Hoffa over the phone was, Jimmy Hoffa says to him, "I heard you paint houses." Now, this is underworld code talk for, hey, you kill people. And, I guess the paint is the blood that splatters. And that's the name of the book, too. Remember, the name of the book that Robert De Niro read back in 2004 was I Heard You Paint Houses. But hold on 1 minute. I got ahead of myself there for a minute. Okay, let's go back to the 31-minute mark. And you got a guy by the name of Whispers here. And Whispers is kind of in a jam. He's going to hire the Irishman to burn down his competition, this laundromat. He's going to burn it down. But the Irishman's going to make his first mistake here because he doesn't check up on who really is the owner of this cleaners. So he's going to burn it down. But first of all, look. A lot of the kids today, they don't realize we used to siphon gas, and when you used to siphon gas, you'd get a little bit in your mouth, and you have to spit it out, and there's nothing like gas in your mouth. So this kind of brings back memories. Watch this part here. Yeah, nothing like the taste of high octane going through your teeth. So the Irishman's going to make a mistake here, but luckily they're keeping an eye on him. They say, hey, Angelo wants to see you. So before he burns the place down, yeah, come on. And the Irishman says, now? Yeah, now's good. Yeah, now's good. I mean, you're coming with me. So they're going to go see Angelo. Remember, Angelo Bruno is the big boss from Philadelphia to Atlantic City. So here they are sitting down, the two bosses. You got Bufalino on the right, and Harvey Keitel is Angelo. And he says, what are you doing? He's talking to the Irishman. What are you doing in Delaware? And he said, and finally, the Irishman fessed up, yeah, I'm going to burn the building down. And Angelo says, who hired you to do this? And the Irishman hesitates. This is classic Harvey Keitel here, classic. And he says, now's not the time not to say. That's what That's what Angelo tells the Irishman when he hesitates. Who hired you? Obviously, it was Whispers, but he's hesitating. And anyhow, Harvey Keitel says, "Now is not the time not to say." This again, classic Harvey Keitel. This is one of the best scenes in the whole movie. So finally, Harvey Keitel, the boss, he says, "You know who owns that place? You know?" And the Irishman says, "Some Jew women own it." Really? Yeah. Is that what he told you? Some Jew women, huh? Yeah. Okay. Finally, he breaks down and he tells the Irishman, "I own half of it. Yeah, the Jewish mob owns one half. I own the other half." So basically, he finally got to the point. Yeah, you almost burnt down my building. So he's sitting across the table from the owner of the building that he almost burnt down. It's kind of awkward. And finally, De Niro understands. The Irishman understands how bad he almost fucked up really bad. And it could have been a fatal mistake. But the boss, Harvey Keitel, says, "Luckily for you, you got a friend here with Bufalino." The boss, Russell Bufalino, saved your ass. You have no idea how good a friend you got there. He saved your ass. So De Niro says, "Okay, I'll go give Whispers back his $10,000. I'm sorry. I'm going to give him back his $10,000." Another classic Harvey Keitel line. He says, "No, you keep the money. Whispers ain't going to need it. No." De Niro really didn't get it the first time. He says, "No, seriously, he's not going to need it." And it comes down to it that to make this right, the Irishman has to kill Whispers to make this right. He screwed up, and obviously that's exactly what he does. He takes out Whispers, and now he's back in the good graces of the mob. And from that point on, now he's like a hitman for the mob. Whenever they need a job done, they give it to the Irishman. And because he kind of owes them a debt of gratitude, because he screwed up with this Whispers thing, that a lot of these jobs he's doing for free, just, out of gratitude. So he's in now. The Irishman's 100% in the mob. He's a hitman. This movie is a lot like the Casino movie. They made it a lot like the Casino movie, and they're constantly telling you, because it's about a true story basically, and these are real people, and they're constantly telling you what actually happened to Frankie and Tony and all these guys. And you see this all through the movie, even Kennedy. The reality's wrapped up into this movie. So basically what you got here is the old Casino Goodfella pack. They're taking us down this long, nostalgic trip back to the 1970s, when the unions and the casinos and the mob and the CIA scratched each other's back. And, of course, back then, every white man in America had a job if he wanted one. And how ironic that such an Americana movie would be released, on or near Black Friday. A ridiculous event. Black Friday, how ridiculous is that? Black Friday, where, all these guys, you go out there, all these women go out there buying shit. A ridiculous event that would have been thought of as comical. Back in the 1970s, we never even heard of Black Friday back in the 1970s. And even the concept of people waiting in line to get in these stores to buy this junk, it would just be ridiculously comical. And I don't know why they would release it on Black Friday. It's just weird. Maybe it's an inside joke or something. I don't know. I also sense that Martin Scorsese tried to put the icing on the cake here, capturing the Americana mob history. I mean, he made this movie over 3 hours long, and I mean, who's better? Who's better than him to top off the cake with some whipped cream? Yes, the icing on the cake for Americana mob movies. Now, there's also some Hollywood de-aging filming technology at work here. I mean, making these legendary actors younger or older. It's de-aging filming technology. Basically, cutting edge stuff there, no pun intended. And of course, the movie does briefly talk about, the Las Vegas, the CIA connections. You got Alan Dorfman Anthony Fat Tony Salerno. I mean, they were all involved with building Las Vegas. And they have a scene there where the guy who owns the dunes, he's saying, hey, he's trying to get money from Jimmy Hoffa. He wants to build a golf course, I believe. Yeah, he says, yeah, we're just asking for a little bit of money for the golf course. And of course, Jimmy Hoffa's lawyer there, the lawyer on the left, Ray Romano, he says, it's a good deal, Jimmy, do it. And then you got Alan Dorfman. Alan Dorfman was part of, signing the checks, the middleman between the union pension funds and the Las Vegas casinos. Of course, Alan Dorfman was shot. And of course, you got Joe Pesci. I mean, remember the movie Casino where he's saying, where the effing Jews this, the effing Jews that? He's doing the same thing in this movie. It's kind of funny. Pretty realistic to the attitude of the times back then. We're talking 1970s. And one of the Irishman's job also, he was to drive a truckload of guns to Florida to help out the CIA and the Cubans. His contact in Florida was a Ferry named Ferry. Yeah, this is the guy, fake eyebrows and all. His name was Ferry. And so anyhow, he drove this truckload of guns down there, and it was supposed to help out in the Bay of Pigs fiasco. And then you've got Howard Hunt. He meets Howard Hunt there, and there's a very weird scene there where Howard Hunt says, "Are you looking at my ears?" He had some sort of complex about his inferiority complex about his ears, and anyhow, it was just very, very weird. So, of course, the organization wanted their casinos back that they had down in Havana, Cuba, that Castro took away. So this story, this rabbit hole goes really, really deep, and there's so much going on in this marathon movie. It's over 3 hours long. I'll be honest with you, this has to be the toughest movie review that anybody will ever do because there's just so much going on here. It's just incredible. And I now realize why Hollywood could not take on a project this long. It'd just be too much for them. And then we have the guy who stole a lot of the scenes. You got Stephen Graham here. He plays Tony Pro. He comes in about the 1 hour, sometime about 1 hour into the movie, he shows up. They end up in prison together. When they end up sending Jimmy Hoffa to prison, Tony Pro is sent to prison at the same time. They get into arguments in there. They get into fights. Tony Pro's a hothead. Jimmy Hoffa is arrogant. Also, when they get out of prison, then comes the best, probably one of the best scenes of the whole movie. They get out of prison, and they've already got issues in history because when they were in prison, they were fighting, and now they're out of prison, and they have a meeting down in Florida. Tony Pro shows up 10 minutes late, and that's a pet peeve with Jimmy Hoffa. I never, ever wait for anybody. 10 minutes is tops. I never wait over 10 minutes for tops. And Tony Pro says, oh, no, you got to give somebody 15 minutes because of traffic and everything. He claims he was late because of traffic. And they get into this surreal argument there in Florida because Tony Pro is 10 minutes late. They end up getting into a fight. They call each other names. It's got to be one of the best scenes in the movie. And you got to give Stephen Graham credit there. Like I said, he was one of the pleasant surprises in the movie there, Stephen Graham. And he definitely stole the scene away from the masters here. And that scene, it sets a pattern also throughout the whole movie. It's kind of refreshing to see Robert De Niro off to the side watching a lot of the main characters. Like, he's off to the side watching Al Pacino and Stephen Graham ham it up. There's like a calm balance to it all. The yin and yang, what goes around comes around. And then we're coming to full circle here pretty soon. It is what it is. It's really not that complicated. So what is Martin Scorsese, what's he trying to tell us? What's the metaphor? We're talking about the Americana mob story. Why do we glamorize the mafia in America? It's because we like to do stuff. And some of it is illegal. We like to gamble. We like to bang. These wise guys, they had the balls to package it up and sell it to us. Gambling and prostitution. And as long as you keep it to that, something like that where you don't really hurt anyone, okay, then you're okay. But if your drugs or your violence hurts the wrong people, then bad things happen to you. This movie has all those real life metaphors, the reality of it. Oh, and I know some people will complain, oh, the movie's too long. De Niro gives us the same look. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, let the haters hate. Better yet, let them go eat tofu and kiss Hillary Clinton's feet. I mean, no. For me, I want De Niro to give me that same classic look. I didn't pay to see De Niro or Pacino act like Mr. Rogers. No. We got exactly what we ordered. A Gula's hot dog with that secret sauce. I mean, anything less would be sacrilegious. And it was also nice and refreshing for them to go back to the 1970s tradition of actually, hiring and using real Mediterraneans for actors. They had that special look, that real attitude. And yeah, Ray Romano, he did a good job. I liked Ray Romano in this movie. He was not overwhelming, and it was the perfect role for Ray. I mean, everybody loves Raymond, huh? I do. What's not to like, huh? Really? Okay. And then De Niro gives us that look, when you find out that, you have to kill your best friend or you're going to get killed. So we come to one of the last scenes there, and I call it the fish metaphor scene. It's another really good scene. They use Jimmy Hoffa's adopted son. They bring him in on the last scene. There's Jimmy Hoffa's adopted son there, Chucky. Remember him in Breaking Bad? He's another good actor. I like him too. So they're going to get Jimmy Hoffa, and Chucky's driving, but he had some sort of stinky fish in the back seat. The whole back seat was wet. It was like some big fish. And the mob guy in the front seat, he says, what kind of fish was it? Chucky doesn't know what kind of fish it is. What do you mean you don't know what kind of fish it is? And they go back and forth. I mean, come on. You don't know what kind of fish it is? And this is the fish metaphor. They gave Chucky the message. I mean, your old man's going with the fishes. Your old man's going to be soon living with the fishes, but Chucky's too dumb to even get it. So Chucky's involved with it, but he doesn't even know he's involved with it. But why are they using Chucky here? And that's really simple, because they're going to get Jimmy Hoffa, but nothing is left for chance here. I mean, Jimmy Hoffa might not get in the car if he only sees one friendly in the car. But if there's two friendlies in the car, then the chances of him getting in the car are better. I mean, he's got his adopted son there, Chucky, and in the back seat he's got his one of his good friends, bodyguard, Frank, in the back seat. So there's two friendlies there. That ups the chance that Jimmy Hoffa is going to get in the car. And he got in the car. The fish metaphor. There's some really good scenes in this movie. And Chucky doesn't even know what kind of fish was in the back seat. So in this story, I heard you paint houses. They tell us that Hoffa's son Chucky was just a dumb patsy. And I believe it. And I think that Frank truly knew here that this time he crossed the line. I'll leave you with this. When America was great, back then, you might have thought you were on top, and you might have thought that you were untouchable. But Americana rules state, the rules state clearly in America, there's always somebody tougher. There's always somebody who can set you straight. There's always somebody above you. Jimmy Hoffa learned this lesson the hard way. Now, we come to today, when there are people, when there's a group of people who are above God's law, well, that's when America ceases to be great. And that's when we witness her decline.